pages. Beneath the towering buildings of Saye, Tan Youyou seems troubled by something. Tan Youyou, like I said, there's no such thing as easy money. Getting up to the roof is one thing, but getting someone down safe and sound, that's a whole other story. Tan Youyou, what happened? Nikki? Momo? You two came at just the right time. Long story short, the owner of the bookstall asked me to chase down some overdue returns. The reward was a generous pile of 1 shang coins, so I agreed to take on a little extra work. I thought it would just be a simple errand, but this borrower named Jen wasn't home. After asking around all over, I found out she climbed all the way to the roof of this building. The roof is so high! What is she doing up there? Something must have scared her. She isn't thinking clearly. They say she was muttering the whole time she was climbing it. Even if someone tried to call out to her, she wouldn't respond. She may not even realize where she is right now. That makes her situation even more dangerous. What if she loses her footing? We have to get her down immediately. Of course I want her to get down as quickly as possible, but I do have one concern. If we just rush in, we may end up scaring her even more. You're right. So maybe we can try talking to her first, to help calm her down. Once she's calmer, getting her down will be a lot easier. That said, Tan Youyou, the moment this guy opens his mouth, things have a way of going south real fast. Alright, I'll admit it. Sometimes my words can be a tad insensitive. Alright, here's the plan. I'll do the talking, and you two stay close and keep an eye on me. If I say anything she might not like, just step in and stop me. Deal? Given how things usually go, looks like Nikki and I have our work cut out for us. No problem. Come on, let's go. Jen, I didn't see anything. There's nothing like that in my house. Nothing like that at all. Now that we're away from the crowd, I can finally hear what she's saying. Unfortunately, it looks like she's in worse shape than we thought. We'll have to be careful how we approach her. I think we should start by gently getting her attention. Then I'll introduce myself first and say, I'm with the Dark Elimination Division and I'm here to help you. That sounds trustworthy enough, right? Let's not worry about introductions right now, Tan Youyou. What matters is figuring out which words will catch her attention. I've heard that even when someone isn't fully conscious, they still respond to their own name. Let's try calling her name first. Oh, and what she likes reading. Good thinking. I know what to do now. Jen, can you hear me? The owner of the bookstall asked me to come find you. Who's there? Don't come any closer. Where you come from? That's a bit of a long story. Do you remember borrowing a book recently? Jen loves reading. Hearing anything about books should help her come to quickly. She's already panicked. What if she suddenly remembers she hasn't returned her book? She might get anxious and stumble. You're right. We need to think of something else. Jen's already scared. If we tell her to return a book, she might get even more terrified. We'd better take a different approach. By the way, why did the bookstall owner ask you to come find her? Well, browsing bookstalls has become a bit of a habit for me. You can find quite a few rare human classics there. The bookstall owner thinks I'm well read and we get along, so he casually asked me for a favor. Go with that. Tell Jen you're a fellow book lover and start a conversation about the stories she enjoys. The books I go for aren't the average person's cup of tea, but this method just might work. Shen, do you remember the book you borrowed last month? As it happens, I'm the one who borrowed it right after you. Wow, you still found time to borrow books after coming to the Wanshang realm? Of course not. You read The Tale of the Red Plum Blossom too? That's the one. I remember the plot had so many twists, and then it just stopped at the most crucial moment. I've heard the next volume will be out soon, though. Are you sure? I heard the author later drew a different character token and stopped writing altogether, and the story will never continue. It was all because the romance between the leads developed too slowly. By the time the story reached volume 7 or 8, they still hadn't expressed their feelings for each other. It was so frustrating. Do you think the male lead's final wish to Chroma will come true? I'm not familiar with the story. You'll have to answer this one, Tan Youyou. Well... Hey! Where am I? What's happening? Help! Someone! Help me! I'm gonna fall! I don't wanna... Stay calm, Shen. Don't move, and you'll be fine. I'm coming to get you. Thank you, both of you! And also thanks to The Tale of the Red Plum Blossom, along with the more than 200 books anonymously written by that author. It looks like you really do love books. Especially romance stories. Did you hear that sudden shout from the street? Pretty frightening, right? And when the Chromatic guard suddenly appeared and walked past you, that was scary too, wasn't it? As long as I'm reading a book and lose myself in other people's love romance, I can forget my fear. Since you're friends with the bookstall owner and have also read The Tale of the Red Plum Blossoms, let's exchange book lists. Speaking of books, the owner mentioned something else. It seems you've held on to the latest book you've been reading for an unusually long time. Ah! Oh no! Don't worry, Shen. He's not blaming you. Whatever happened, we can take care of it. It's all my fault for not paying attention. That day I meant to borrow a romance book, but I accidentally grabbed a collection of ghost stories. I'm normally a scaredy cat, but as soon as I saw one book, I just couldn't resist opening it and reading a few pages. And after the first story about the scholar studying for his exams, I became terrified. This is getting interesting. What was the title of the book you borrowed? I think it's Under the Lantern. The book is still at my place. I'll get it right now. I see. Nikki, could I trouble you to go with Shen to retrieve the book? Once you have it, meet me on Lantern Street. What about you? I remember a series of books I read before, which, like The Tale of the Red Plum Blossom, the author stopped writing halfway through. With so many strange and rare things in the Wanshang realm, there might be a sequel here that the rest of the world hasn't discovered yet. Why are you all acting so mysterious? If you don't want to go, just say so. You're not scared, are you? Now I'm really curious about those ghost stories. I have to see them for myself. Thank you. Even without my books, having you here with me makes me feel a little less scared. The way home is this way. I think I'm okay staying out here. What's wrong? Nikki, you shouldn't go in either. The book's inside. Who knows what might happen if you go in there? Huh? What are you talking about? Actually, it wasn't just the ghost stories that scared me. Last night, like I usually do, I was sitting by the table in the center of the courtyard, reading a book. Because I was getting scared, I turned up my lantern and read the book, peeking at the pages through my fingers. Then, I got so nervous I couldn't keep reading. I paused to catch my breath, and that's when I saw them. Suddenly, the courtyard was filled with things that hadn't been there before. They weren't there before, I swear. I understand, Shen. You don't need to force yourself to remember anything else. Leave the book to us, we'll handle it. Also, I have another idea. Nikki, you're not thinking of reading the book yourself, are you? I believe fear comes from the unknown. To help Zhen overcome her fear, we need to understand what this book is all about. So once we have it, we'll sit right here and read it together. I'm not scared. Let's follow what Zhen said and look for the book in the courtyard where she was reading. Looks like Zhen was sitting here while reading the book. Once we find it, we'll sit here too. Under the lantern. That's the one. Darn it, my paws are too small. I don't think I'll be able to peek through my digits while reading. There's an inn in Linlong where scholars gather. The story begins by describing a group of hardworking scholars who one day discover that the content in their books doesn't match what they remember. Full of errors, nonsensical, as if eaten away by worms. Does that mean the words on the pages actually disappeared? I feel like I can barely make out the words in the book myself too. Don't be afraid, Momo. It's just a story. Besides, there are so many of them. There's really nothing to worry about. The story says a learned academician came to help restore the text in their book. Then it says, suddenly, a young boy with tied hair appeared, his expression blank. Suddenly appeared? Zhen said that while she was reading the book, the courtyard suddenly filled with all sorts of things. He neither ate nor drank and only enjoyed listening to others read. That's so strange. He doesn't seem human at all. The story then says a young scholar grew suspicious of the academician and went to check on him in the middle of the night. Alone? That's so dangerous. I can't read anymore. Nikki, turn to the last page and tell me how it ends. The young scholar then saw the academician restoring a painting, and the face in the painting was the boy's. At that moment, the eyes of the boy in the painting suddenly turned towards the young scholar. Under the lantern. 4. In Linlong there was an inn, frequented by scholars who gathered day and night to study diligently. One morning, as the students reviewed their texts, they noticed something strange. The passages they had read the day before now appeared entirely different. The following day the text changed again, full of errors, nonsensical, as if eaten by worms. The scholars were bewildered. At that moment, an academician happened to be staying at the inn. Hearing of their confusion, he merely smiled and said, "This is but an easy trick." He closed his door and set to work. By the next day, the text had returned to the original form. Suddenly, a young boy with tied hair appeared, his expression blank. He neither ate nor drank and only enjoyed listening to others read. One scholar, suspicious, peeked into the academician's room at night and saw him bent over a painting. The scholar stared in disbelief. The young boy depicted in the painting was identical to the boy at the inn, perfectly lifelike. Startled, the scholar watched as the young boy in the painting suddenly turned his eyes and fixed his gaze directly upon him. Terrified, he stumbled and hit the door frame, making a noise. The academician within the room was roused by the noise. In an instant, the ink on the painting vanished. Tossing aside his brush, the academician sighed. The ink spirit is aware. It can no longer be contained. Ah! The young scholar was so frightened that he stumbled into a door, waking everyone inside. Immediately, the ink on the painting vanished. Nikki, something doesn't feel right. You should stop reading. The academician then put down his brush, and with a sigh, he said, "The ink spirit is aware. It can no longer be contained." Ah! Nikki! Stop reading! Ghosts! Huh? This place is really haunted, just like Zhen said. Those things, they appeared out of nowhere. afraid, Momo. I'm here. As long as we're together, we can get to the bottom of what's going on here. You're right. If we stay together, I can face my fears too. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. The more I look at these things, the stranger they seem. I wonder if using your Shadow Shatter ability will help. So the extra objects were actually disguises for these guys? But wow, they're fast. Surely they're not scared of us, are they? Maybe. Anyway, let's tell Shen what happened. Ah, Nikki, it's you. Wait, you're not some ink-drawn spirit, and you do eat and drink, right? Stop saying that! You can finally breathe easy. We've just figured everything out. Those things that suddenly appeared, they were just some Essling-looking creatures. They weren't ghosts. You mean reading the book actually attracts Esslings? Don't be scared. I already used my Shadow Shatter ability to drive them away. They weren't real Esslings, just lookalikes that often disguise themselves as everyday objects and occasionally cause trouble. The stories in that book are very well written. Who knows? Maybe they just wanted to listen too. They like listening to stories? When you put it that way, they don't sound scary at all. Thank you. However, could I ask one more favor of you? If I keep the book with me, I'm afraid I won't be able to keep from reading more. The more I tell myself not to think about it, the harder it is to hold back. I understand. We were planning on meeting up with Tan Youyou anyway, and finding out what he was busy doing. We can return the book for you. Thank you so much. You truly are a lifesaver. Oh, and on the way from my place to Lantern Street, you could easily read about 20 pages of the book. Just watch your step. There are some rocks around the corners, and every now and then a jade hopper might leap out on the grass to startle you. Be careful, Nikki. Lending records, sales records, storage inventory. Alright, I've checked them all. Luckily, of all the books I've written, only that one ended up in the Wanshang realm. That book was pretty terrifying, don't you think, Nikki? Yes. Tan Youyou, it's a shame you didn't come read it with us. Judging from your reactions, I'd say the author of this book is quite talented. So Nikki, Momo, did you manage to retrieve it? Everything went smoothly. The only problem is, the author didn't finish the story. They left the ending vague and mysterious, letting readers ponder and imagine it for themselves. There's really nothing to ponder. It's probably just that the author got lazy and didn't finish the story. I often wander through bookstores and see all kinds of misprints and slip-ups by authors, yet people end up praising them as strokes of sheer genius. Well, what a coincidence. That series of books you were looking for, did the author get lazy and leave those unfinished too? Well, there's no sequel to be found here in the Wanshang realm, but if you're keen on hearing a spooky story, I can tell you one. It's in a dream I once had. We're all ears. It's a simple story, really. I once dreamed that I was an entity born of ink, brought into being by the strokes of someone else's brush. I worked diligently and without complaint, only to realize in the end that everything amounted to nothing more than a handful of lines written by someone else. The moment I woke, everything I had experienced, every love, grudge, kindness, and resentment, faded like ink washed from a brush, its traces dispersing into nothing. This is supposed to be a spooky story? Not the dream itself, now. What lingers is the question it left behind. Have I truly awakened from that dream? And how can any of us be certain that this world, heaven, earth, you and me, aren't simply just characters from some story. If we're all just characters in a story, wouldn't it be frightening? Tan Youyou, could it be that it's thoughts like these that leave you looking so dreary and unmotivated? What are you talking about? I take my job at the Dark Elimination Division seriously, and when it comes to subduing certain kinds of S-lings, I never cut corners. Well, whether it's frightening or not, you already know the answer in your heart, don't you? Besides, plenty of stories are left unfinished. Didn't we just hear about 3 authors who abandoned their stories midway, leaving them for others to interpret and carry on? Come on, I already said it was just a dream. You didn't find it scary at all? And why are you getting so serious about it? Never mind. I knew my musings wouldn't faze you. Besides, I'm sure you already have your own answer. In any case, thank you both for your help. I'll take care of returning the book. Okay, we'll continue exploring Saye. I've been startled far too many times today. I need some hot pot to calm my nerves. It won't matter how many S-lings you attract. You're not getting away. Come back with me to the Dark Elimination Division. Huh? Or maybe we could buy some One-Shang records and keep trying until I pull a new style.